Alright, this is what we're tying today. This is just a little rabbit strip worm, a little flashy in the front. This works great for carp and bass. I mean, even trout, sunfish. I just caught something called a Rio cichlid the other day on this. Really good little fly. And the best part is pretty much this is free materials because we are using a used up rabbit strip that we pulled the hide off of when we were tying this last week. So this is just a little kind of rabbit strip streamer. I showed you guys that video last week, and I told you I would be showing you how to utilize this strip when you're done. I do not like wasting materials, so this is just my take on what you can do with the used up hides for that other fly. I'm sure you guys can come up with a pattern yourself, but this is just kind of what I figure works really well. So anyway, let's get to tying this. Enough talking. Let's start tying. So we're going to be using Risen's barbless jig hook, the 9230. Okay, so it's a jig hook and in size 10. So I'm tying this pretty large. And I like a pretty heavy weighted fly. So this is a 4mm tungsten slotted bead. And this one's in matte black, which is pretty cool. I like that color. So the easiest way to get a bead on the hook is just to put the bead in your hand, bring the hook point to it, and there we go. Once this turns around, there we go. And you want to make sure you seat these properly, because that's not being seated. It's not going. Once I turn it, that seats. And I'll show you better on the vise. All right, let's place the hook securely in our vise. All right, and what I was talking about is, see how there's a rounder part? You're not going to see the rounder part. And there's this square part. The square part won't go. You've got to turn it around, and then that will seat perfectly in the hook. Now these are pretty heavy. I like this heavy. I want it to sink. So for thread, I'm using Vivas 6/0 in red. Let's take our thread. We'll start it right at the head here. We're just going to make a bunch of wraps, form a thread dam, and that's going to keep that bead from moving down. So now let's bring our thread all the way down to the base, just slightly into the bend, and then back up right at the top of that bend right there. You're going to want to come through first and strip off all the extra fur. And by the way, you could keep this, and this is good dubbing. Now you're not going to get it all, and that's okay, actually. It's not a bad thing to have a little bit of this fur. In fact, we left a little piece like this, if you remember last week, on purpose, and you'll see why. So we really don't need this whole thing. And you want some really good sharp scissors for cutting hide. It is thicker. So I've got these. These are made by Risen. They're razor scissors, and it's really sharp. There we go. That's what we're left with. Again, keep this. This is really good dubbing if you want some white dubbing. Waste not, want not, guys. So you could tie this in white if you wanted. However, I like it in red. So I'm going to tie a red fly. You can tie in any color you want. So get yourself some Sharpies, or like here, I got these at Risen. And as you can see, they were 25. This was like a year or two ago, so I'm not sure what they cost now, but they're really good markers. They have a fine tip and also a chisel tip. And this is an alcohol-based marker. This is going to stay even through the water. It's not going to come off. I mean, probably over time it'll fade, especially red. Red tends to fade a lot. So you're going to want to get a piece of paper and lay down your hide, and we are going to color this. So I use white. Now, if you've got a different color strip like this that you used, obviously you're not going to color it. Just use it whatever color strip that you're using. But if you use white, it gives you the ability to color it. So I put a piece of paper underneath so I don't ruin my desk. I made a mistake here and did that a while back, and I've got marker all over. So we just run that through, color the top, turn it over, color the back. You want to get the sides because that stays white. You can see there. So, and that last little bit we'll want to color. You know, and after tying a bunch of these, you could have a whole bunch of these strips and you could just kind of color them all at once. So this comes out a little mottled which is actually a good thing. You can see there's darker spots and lighter spots, and that's good. Even a little bit of white showing through, totally fine. Not going to affect anything. In fact, it might be a good thing. Now, another thing you could do is take this and color just the fur here a different color. So if you wanted something like black with chartreuse tip, whatever, you could do that. Let's just do all red for now. So we've got the hide, and we are going to put it right up against the bead here, like so. Wrap it around. So as you can see, I've got this kind of cupped over, and we're wrapping it around the hook slightly. I want to make sure it's nice straight right on top. Make a couple tight wraps like so, and then we can open spiral up. We're going to come back down and tighten that even more, but I wanted to open spiral to make sure that we had the right positioning first. Good. Keep that flat, and now we can come back and really lock that into place, and that shouldn't spin. Good. All right, guys, so I filmed this whole thing and I realized I did not press start once I changed camera angles. So we are going to do so I'm redoing this. This is a new fly. So we're going to do something called a dubbin loop. So we're going to double this up, wrap it around your finger. We're going to make one wrap over it, wrap around once, and that kind of locks it in. We'll bring it all the way back to the start of that tail, and then we're going to bring the thread up. All right, then we're going to grab a dubbing loop twister thing. Looks like that. I'm going to place that there. That's going to hold it. I've got this little kind of knob on my vise that kind of holds this open. If you don't have something like that, this will twist around. If you let go of it, you might just need to hold it. Next, I'm using this UV2 Diamond Bright, and they call it the burgundy color. We're going to grab a fair amount, about that much. Let's spread it apart like so. We're just going to lay that right in the dubbing loop. Twist this, spin it while we pinch it. We can grab it, and it's not going to spin yet. We need to take scissors or something to keep that, because it'll wrap up here if we just let it go. So that'll just keep that from happening. And then we'll just keep spinning this up. There we go. That's pretty tight enough. Let's go ahead and pick this out with a stiff toothbrush. You might lose a couple of the fibers, but it's okay. So before I wind this on, I'm going to make about 10 wraps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I'm going to unwrap that right now by twisting my vise. So we're just making touching wraps all the way up, creating a body on this. And there we go. Once you reach the top, go ahead and capture that. Come in tight with your scissors. We'll make a couple wraps to really lock that in. Then I like to take a bodkin and kind of pick this out a little bit. You don't have to, but I mean, it will get picked out while fishing it. Fish teeth will do this too. And you can really use any dubbing. It doesn't have to be this dubbing, it doesn't have to be flashy. All right, once that's picked out, we're just going to go ahead and whip finish. 5-turn whip finish is fine. Cut off the thread. And then I got this UV curing resin called Ultra Thin. Solarez is Ultra Thin or Bone Dry. It's my favorite stuff. You guys see me use it all the time. This will really make this super durable. Nothing's going to break through. You paint that on, and take a UV curing light. Doesn't have to dry or anything, that is set. So the light itself cures it, makes it hard. Really good pattern. And again, we're not really using any material that costs us money because we're reusing this strip from the fly that I made last week. So definitely, if you haven't checked that out, check it out. I'm gonna link it at the end of the video right here, okay, the bottom. Also in the description section down below, you can go see that video on how I made that. And we're just utilizing a strip from this fly that we wouldn't normally utilize. So something like that. Really simple. So if you haven't already, please check out my sponsor, Risen Fly. They're the ones that made actually the scissors that I used today. You can see their logo there. They made the hooks and the beads, and everything that they sell is super high quality, but their prices are absolutely amazing. Really, really great prices. It's just hard to beat. In fact, they sell more than just scissors and hooks and beads. They sell rods and reels. Pretty much anything you need to fly fish. They even have a rod that's $100 that is one of the best rods I've ever used, so definitely check that out. That rod is called the Genesis, and it's absolutely amazing. I choose to fish with that rather than even some of my $400 or $500 or $600 rods. It's really, really good. If you want to check them out, which I highly recommend you doing, go to www.risenfly.com and then type in McFly at checkout and you'll get 15% off of your first order with them. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell notification for future video updates. Also, if you could hit the like button, it would really help me and the channel out. I will see you on the next video. Now you guys try to escape the daily grind.